Hi guys, today I am Purushottam, a student of National Institute of Technology, Warangal, and today I am discussing a very important topic, that is laboratory safety and practices. So why we are discussing this? That's the more important topic. Firstly, when we come to a prestigious college, we are having some labs like genetics lab, biogenesis lab, bioprocess calculations lab, etc. So let's start with the intro part. And today I am Purushottam Gurjar, and roll number is 22 BTB 0A46. And today I am having a very important discussion regarding laboratory safety and practices. So let's start our discussion. Lab safety practices. So that's a very important topic. Like we also have to once go through in our life if we are pursuing a PhD or a MTech. So most important topic is we have to do. We have to go through all the labs. So that's, I think, we all must go through the labs, and we should also know the protocols that before entering the lab. So let's start with our slides. So what are the rules that we should follow during our lab, and why should we follow? So mostly people thinks like why we should follow the rules. So most common answer is that safety matters. So that's why we have to follow the safety rules. So if you are following the safety rules properly, then we will be safe, and will be fit, and will be more beneficial to our nation as well as our country. So what are the lab safety rules? So first, if you are having any kind of damage in a lab, so just directly report that to your consultant or a faculty advisor, or there are also many in the labs. So first, report the damage or a broken equipment to the teacher immediately. If you don't do that, then another person who are using that instrument may get himself hurt, or another people as well as hurt. So another rule that we follow is wear a safety goggles for any situation where they might be needed. Like mostly of people are having a habit of touching their eyes, like having opening their specs and like touching. So that's the most important thing. Like if you are in microbiology lab, biogenetics lab, so then if we touch the lab, then some viruses are very dangerous. As we already know, the COVID-19, the holidays we have enjoyed in our holidays. So that's a great. So use all lab tools by following safety guidelines. So firstly, we are having a safety data sheet that is called HDD. When you enter the lab, like in foreign labs, we if you are not having a safety protocol, safety data sheets, the authorized person of the lab will not let you enter in the lab. And the safety posters for the older students as well. And if any kind of spill, like if you are using a chemical and suddenly it gets spoiled by you, then just inform your officer seriously. Now now the chemical safety and practices. So what are the practices? So welcome to the word chemical safety. This presentation we will explore various aspects of the chemical handling, from the hazardous as well as riskiest to practices and the regulatory compliances. And next we are having with introduction to the chemical safety. So if we are following the chemical safety, so first we have to like introduce what the chemical safety. So first, the introduction part must have a first point, understanding the risks. Chemicals have the potential to cause harm if not handled properly. Like as you know that any one solution is very harmful. If you like put it on your skin, it like goes totally goes. There is no chances of recovering that thing. Like you also listening of the the lovers that put the HCl on their beloved. So be aware of that, and learn about the risk associated with the different type of the chemicals before you using the chemicals. First, go through all the riskiest movements that can be happened, like what can be the next step if the chemical get on spill on yourself. And second, the responsibility and the roles. Learn about the responsibilities of an individual and handling, including your employer, supervisor, and the persons who are under your control. under your supervision. So their safety is also your safety. If you are not following that thing, so that might be more happening to you. And next, why we should always go for the training. We should always go for the training before entering in the lab. Like as our professor Amitabh Bandhu sir said कि if he goes to PhD for a well known American institute, and he said कि if he have to enter in the lab, he have to take the permissions and the signatures from the safety officer. He has read the SDD, that is safety data sheet, as well as other things. So first have to take the signature from the safety officer for having the access to the chemical labs. So now the importance of the training, like the proper education and training are essential for the everyone working with the chemicals. Now discover the key elements of a comprehensive chemical safety training program. That's a very important thing. Like you have to discover all type of the risk that can happen in that thing. Next, now we are discussing with the common hazards and the risk. Common hazards and the risk. So the most common hazard that can we go through is the chemical spill. What happen if you are using a chemical that is in high concentration, like 0.1 molar NaOH, 1 molar NaOH, and you spill that. So first explore the potential consequences of a chemical spill and the technique to mitigate their impact. If you know the impact, you can deal with that thing in a better way. Second, chemical burns. Now discover the type of the chemical burn, their severity, appropriate first aid measures to provide the immediate care in a case of accidental exposure. Now mostly we are having some fume work in the labs, and that causes air pollution. So first, understanding the risk associated with the chemical emission, and learn how to prevent or minimize the air pollution caused by the chemical activities. As you already know about the free radicals that are decomposing our beneficial layer, ozone layer. Now first go through the personal protective equipment. You all go through this, as we are having a most unfortunate days of the coronas, as well as most fortunate days of holidays. Now personal protective equipment, this we also call as PPE kit. We also hear that for that doctors of the AIMS are provided with 1,000 PPE kits with 100% security, N95 marks, and this is that kind of PPE kit. So first, understanding what the PPE, get familiar with type of the personal protective equipment and their role in the safeguarding individuals from the chemical hazards. So firstly, don't understand the thing that if you are using a PPE kit, we will not get anything. There are several type of the PPE kits. Now selection and use. Firstly, learn how to use appropriate PPE kit based on the specific chemical hazards involved, and understanding the proper use and the maintenance of the PPE kit. Thirdly, training and the compliances. Explore the importance of the PPE training, compliances with the safety regulations, and the role of employees in providing and the maintaining the PPE kit. Now, what are the best practices for the chemical storage and the handling? So we are also if we are going through the chemicals, then we have also go through the like what are the storage, what kind of storage we have to do for particular kind of chemical. Firstly, storage guidelines. If we are storing a chemical, seriously, if we are storing a chemical, then always understand the severity of that chemical. Discover the proper storage conditions, segregation requirements for different type of the chemicals to prevent accident and ensure stability. Now, the mostly mistakes done by the people is that they are not labeling the things. Like if you have put a chemical, that is like we have taken HCl, you have taken HCl in an empty test tube, and you just put it and just gone outside. So who will be responsible? Like if another person just came and use that and treat this as a mild acid. That will be your responsibility in my terms. Now first, labeling and documentation. Learn about the importance of accurate labeling, documentation for chemical containers, including safety data sheet. This is the most important thing, safety data sheet. Now, safe handling techniques. Explore the practical tips and the techniques for the safety handling chemicals, such as proper powering, measuring, and transferring. So, if you have used a chemical, then it is your responsibility to disposing the hazardous waste in a term that they deserve. If you appropriately dispose the hazardous waste, that it minimize the dangerous or a hazards to the environment. Firstly, understanding the hazardous waste. Identify the different categories of the hazardous waste and the regulations surrounding their proper collection, storage, and disposal. Secondly, recycling and sustainability. Discover environmentally friendly methods for treating, recycling, repurposing hazardous waste to minimize the environmental impact. Now, safe decomposal properties. Learn about safe practices, considerations for disposing hazardous chemicals to protect the human health and environment. Now, what are the emergency responses for the chemical spill and accident? Like as I had talked earlier about this, if you are using a chemical and suddenly you just spoiled it just spill on your leg or anything. So what kind of response you will take? You have to take a emergency response for a chemical spill as well as an accident. Now, firstly, you should always be prepared for a chemical spill. Emergency preparedness. Develop an effective emergency response plan that include communication, strategies, evacuation and process and the first aid guideline. Now, secondly, spill secondly, spill containment and cleanup. Understand the steps involved in containing and cleaning up the chemical spills, including appropriate equipment and the material. Thirdly, post incident evaluation. Learn from the chemical spills that are caused by your professors, your seniors, and anyone else, and always use the preventive measurements to prevent the such kind of things like chemical spills. Always aware the persons who are under your guidance so that they can also use proper things. Now, regulatory compliances and the legal obligations. Understanding the regulations. Always stay informed about the local, that is your assistant, or what can be the you can what kind of damage you can cause, national and international chemical safety regulations to ensure the compliances and avoid the legal consequence. Secondly, training and records. Discover the importance of the comprehensive training and program and accurate record keeping to meet the regulatory requirement. Now, we go through the next. What next? So I am just this is my first video. So if I am having any kind of mistakes, just ignore it, and I will promise I will improve this kind of mistakes from the next video onwards. So what next? So if you are going to a chemical lab or a genetics lab, biogenetics lab, or any kind of lab like DNA, if you are like mostly people are interested in DNA basis. So what next? If you are going to any kind of lab, firstly go through all the protective measures from for that lab, and always have a physical copy of a safety data sheet. If you have that sheet, like you have decreased the chance of the accident to 60% if you are having a data sheet. And always listen to the professors before entering as well as doing the experiment in the lab. So at last I am just saying thank you and always stay safe, and always thank you for having a great session, and we are having a great session, and you are a good audience, and thanks a lot, and let's see you in next video soon. Bye.
Behind the scene.
That is lab life safety.
क्या हुआ?
लेव सेफ्टी
हाँ चलने दे ना, वो क्यों बंद कर रहा है?
अरे एडिट मार देंगे
रुक यार,
लेव सेफ्टी
लीव
मुझे दिख ही नहीं रहा।
नहीं हो रहा है यार, कसम से
करना है यार।
रुक कर रहा हूँ।